Yeah, this is definitely fun. Yeah, baby. Hey guys, look what I got. That's right, I got this hovercraft, and in this video we're going to unbox it. We're going to take a look at all the parts and pieces. We're going to do a quick demo, and then at the end we're going to wrap things up with our pros and cons. Coming up next, we're going to see what's going on inside the box. All right, let's take a look and see what comes inside the box. Slide this thing out. Very curious to see what this looks like. Oh yeah, okay. So this first box, it's like just batteries. Hey. We got 2 batteries. Looks like a screwdriver, a USB charger. Nice. Very cool. Got a radio and the hovercraft in here. All right, so this is what the hovercraft looks like. Certainly appears to be toy grade, but doesn't mean it's not going to be a lot of fun. And here is the air cushion and the holes for the air. Oh yeah. All right, so let's take a look at the radio. And a basic Surface radio. It says tips for pairing, but must be in the water first before pairing. We will see how that works. I'm going to test it off camera, and when we come back, you are going to see this thing in action. We are now going to do a test run with this. I did a little experimenting off camera to get a feel for this, and I've got the radio on. So the first step is to turn the radio on so it's flashing green, and then you hold that down, and once it's connected, the hovercraft does exactly what it's doing right now, and that is a solid green. So we are going to do a little buzzing around here. You can operate this in a pretty short space, or pretty small space. It's not terribly fast. It's not terribly powerful. Sometimes going backwards is not the best. It tends to want to go a little bit more to the left than the right. It will go both directions, of course. Ooh, we almost went off my surface here. Okay, let me just zoom out a little bit so we have a fuller view of what's going on here, guys. Oh, yep, it kind of gets stuck on the edge, but it will. Clearly this is a small, this I believe is a 6-foot table. And it will, on half of it, basically 3 feet by 2 feet, you can have some fun with this thing. I wouldn't mind the air cushion fan, or the fan for the air cushion, to be a little bit more powerful. But I do have to admit, I did burn through the other battery completely to the point where it was beeping at me, so it will give you a signal to let you know when the battery is done. It is fun. I do have slightly larger surfaces. Oh, almost, oh yeah, hey. In reverse it's slow, but it'll actually get her done. And if you've got wide open spaces, you can get some speed with this, but not a lot, and not controllable in a straight line. It's not really proportional, not really proportionate to the inputs that you give it. So it is definitely toy grade, but I gotta admit it is fun even though it is toy grade and it's not a high performer. And you've got that nice bright LED. I've got some light boxes shining down on this right now. And that light, green light in the back, is definitely nice and bright. I love lights on RC. If an RC these days doesn't have it, especially a $300 airplane, I get kind of pissy. Yeah, it definitely wants to turn more going to the left. You can kind of do Brody's, if you will, a little bit. Does look like the air cushion kind of catches a little bit if you do it too much. Now I tried to run it on carpet, and there's just not quite enough air to run it on carpet. I'm guessing that it would work okay on water or snow. That's what it says in the manual that it will do. But if you've got much wind outside, if you're doing that outside, I don't see how you would be able to control it much unless it's really calm. Might be fun to try on like powdery snow. Don't think it'll work based on my experience with the carpet, but you never know. Yeah, we have a little acceleration there. It just doesn't go exactly where you point it. But again, this is toy grade, not a hobby grade RC. Perfectly fine for a kid. It is a little bit loud, as you can hear. So if your kid is playing with it, and it is recommended for 14 plus on the box. So if sounds are an issue for you, this might be a little loud unless, you know, you take turns. Each one of you gets to do a battery and so on, or you buy some more. In fact, I will put a link below to some batteries that are very similar. These are 400 milliamp hour packs that came in my package. And some 380s from Tattoo. I am sure will work just as well. Tattoo is a very good brand. These, I think, are off-brand. So while we still have battery, I am going to remove this table and see if it works at all on the fleece here below the table. All right, let's see what we got, guys. It's kind of moving. This is full throttle forward. Not really doing that well. We'll turn to the side. So let's see if it will go. Yeah, it really doesn't move on this surface, unfortunately. All right, you guys, I felt kind of bad about how I showed this in the typical studio. I wanted to give it a little bit more of a fair showing here because I was dinking around after I recorded the pros and cons and all that. And when I cleared out a little more space, this thing actually performed a lot better than it had originally, where I had a little bit of limited space. So when you listen to the pros and cons that are coming up, take them with a little bit of a grain of salt, because while this thing is not perfect, and it is certainly toy grade, it is still pretty cool. Oop. Oop. It definitely does Brody's just fine on linoleum floor and probably other super slick things. That table had a little texture on it. You're not going to get the smoothness that you're going to get with this. And of course it's stuck under the oven. Oh, well, we got out, so that's good. Okay, this thing is fun. That's what I said in the pros and cons. Even though it didn't perform perfectly, although it's doing way better now. Yeah, this is definitely fun. And I'd said that all along, but my goodness, it's fun. If I had more space to play with this, it'd be even more fun, I'm sure. Yeah, baby. This thing really is like driving an air hockey table. It's very strange, but fun. All right, guys, we're going to do our pros and cons for this RC Hovercraft. As far as the pros goes, the kit comes ready to run with everything you need in the box. Obviously, I said it a few times, it is fun to drive. It's not a high performer. We'll get to that in the cons, but it is still fun. I enjoyed it. The hovercraft will operate in a small area, as I demonstrated. Part of that is due to lack of speed. It requires a common 1S lipo pack with a common Molex plug, which means you can get other ones. Check the link in the description. I'm going to drop some other options in there for quick and easy stockpiling, so you can run this thing until you probably burn it up. The run times are solid, and the audible low voltage warning is a nice touch. Now let's get into the cons. As far as the cons go, this thing absolutely needs a hard and smooth surface. Now the table that I was running it on, it actually has some texture, so it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, but it can't be carpet, it can't be fleece like this bed is, that sort of thing. So I'm not sure how it will do on concrete, especially if they're little pebbly rocks. In fact, if anything, that's a bad idea, because in the manual, it cautions against that because it can tear up the rubber air cushion that makes the hovercraft work. So definitely, if you're gonna go outside on cement, make sure it is super smooth, like super smooth in a garage, and sweep that out. That way you don't get rocks tearing up the rubber at the bottom of this thing. It does lack power, as I mentioned a few times in the video, even in the pros section. And the RC Hovercraft is not proportionate to the inputs that you give it. It's also not that quiet, and it is not hobby grade. But overall, I'll let you decide, the viewer. I will have a link in the description to it. I'll also probably add links to other stuff that are probably better quality, probably hobby grade quality. That way, depending on which consumer you are, you can decide what works best for you. With all that being said, like, comment, and subscribe. And GBLynden out.